I guess we can start with Washington. I mean, Koo is like you said already announced like he's not coming back, big bro. He said I am out of there, and that's a given. I mean, you're not really gonna get much better in Washington. I mean, solid pieces around Beal. Porzingis, Kuz, Beal. You got Avia, Corey Kispert, Rui Hachimura. You got some young talent in there, spruce in there. Got some vets. Got some has a nice team. But in terms of
In
making it
terms of what?
in terms of making it
In
making
terms
it
of what?
into the
The
playoffs and
play-in?
getting
The
and
play-in.
doing anything, that's not gonna happen with that roster. So I can see them realistically selling. I don't know why. I just don't want to believe that the Raptors are gonna blow that up. I mean, like
The Raptors.
they're
I mean,
currently sitting at 10, and like
you gotta
teams.
you gotta put it into perspective. The Toronto Raptors are in such a tough spot right now. Their All Star from last year, the guy in the comments is probably rolling in his grave right now, talking about Fred Van Vliet being a top 3 point guard in the NBA. Van Vliet has been shit. Van Vliet has been terrible. He's been very bad. He's not being as efficient as he was last year. He's really not even a factor out there because as you know, with most of these little guards, they're not a factor on the defensive side of the ball. So Toronto's in a spot where their bench is terrible. They don't have a certified big man. They don't have good guard play. All they're really hanging their hat on is their rookie being really good, OG Anunoby being good, and he's been incredible this season.
Mhm.
Probably the most valuable piece that they could trade that's not Siakam for them. That they would want to trade realistically
Yeah.
in order to get better. Scotty Barnes has been very hit or miss for them this year. Like very hit or miss. They have nice pieces, like I said. They have Gary Trent, they have Scotty Barnes, they have Siakam. You could definitely retool with this team. You would definitely have to let go of 2 to 3 of those guys in order to get something back in return that would work. Because Toronto has no bench at all.
Yeah, it's just like a lot of wing play and like you said, hit or miss
Christian Coloco has
games.
been he's been good when he plays. Achua's been all right. Toronto's in such a tough spot because they have an All NBA player and his co-star has not been good, man, and they've been very mediocre year after year. I don't see why you wouldn't capitalize on the value that they have there to try to, retool. Like you could keep Scotty Barnes, of course, at the forefront. You could even keep Siakam, just retooling around them. Let's get rid of OG. Let's get rid of Fred Van Vliet. See what we can get in return. Explore those options. But if that doesn't happen, OG could be an easy trade target. That's how you could start your rebuild.
Hmm.
You can move on from Siakam. You know what kind of package you're gonna get for Pascal Siakam. But the thing is, for me, I don't really know what team has the assets to get Siakam and that it would work for them. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I'm looking now. I did not know Pascal was 28. I mean, that's still like he's still within his prime and stuff, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was traded within however many years. It makes sense though. They have a lot of like good value guys and that could be used as assets to get back good pieces. Just like you said, it depends on what team and what works for them. But yeah, hopefully Scotty can get back on his shit in terms of consistency because, like you said, it's been hit or miss with him, and like he's the guy that they didn't want to trade Kevin Durant for, which I totally understand because it's like you get KD back and like you lose pretty much all your depth, but
I
Scotty's gonna
know
have
they're
to.
biting that bullet right now.
Yeah,
I know they're
yeah,
biting that bullet right now.
yeah. So yeah, Scotty definitely has to start performing, and Fred, definitely needs to start
I
performing
think it
too.
correlates though. I think the reason why Scotty Barnes isn't the same player or as productive as he was last year is because of Fred Van Vliet. Not having that extra floor spacer and that 3 point threat on the court with a team that's already pretty clogged, the offense isn't great in a half court setting. Having like that your best shooter, possibly, I mean, if you consider best shooter in the lineup, perhaps not being that guy anymore, I think that definitely stunts his production, especially as a guy who's pass first, looking to just make the play. Scotty Barnes, like a lot of guys in the league, he's not a natural scorer. Like a lot of guys on the Raptors, they're not natural scorers. Fred VanVleet's supposed to be one, and he's underperforming. So if they do retool, I expect OG to be a very productive player on a very good team, or even a team that has a lot of draft capital that Toronto would want back. One team in mind would be the Oklahoma City Thunder. Tell me how you feel about this trade. The Thunder give up 3 first-round picks. They give up Trey Mann, and they give up Josh Giddey
Josh
for
Giddey.
Scotty Barnes and Gary Trent Jr.
Ain't no like there's no way the Raptors give Scotty Barnes up for that. Like in terms of draft
Scotty Barnes.
capital, in
No, no,
terms
no, no.
of
OG Anunoby.
OG
OG
Anunobi,
Anunoby.
huh? That would, yeah.
OG and Gary Trent. I mean, in Oklahoma's terms, like the sighting, Josh Giddey is very good. He's a good prospect. Yeah, sure. For the Raptors, of course, you wouldn't want Josh Giddey playing with Scotty Barnes. Of course, I saw this trade somewhere. I didn't, because I don't. Why would I pair Josh Giddey and Scotty Barnes? Of course, it doesn't make sense. But I think it works in terms of what the Thunder want to do because we're seeing this season that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is making a very big case for an All-Star appearance. Shout
Mm-hmm.
out to Shai. And they look like a team that's not an easy out, not an easy team to beat, especially because of Shai. And if you add a guy like OG Anunoby, which is some defense, some more wings, you get Chet back next year, you're gonna get a good draft pick. I think this team could sneak their way in next year into the playoffs. Am I crazy for thinking that?
I can see them scratching potentially into the playoffs. Like in that play-in area with OG, definitely that helps out a lot. Giddy, what he does for the Thunder is obviously appreciated with his facilitating, but outside of that, it's like Shea is really your main guy, and once you get Chet back, it can't just be him and Shea the whole time. I mean, Josh
Yeah.
has some solid games, but like nothing to the consistency of a Shea or potentially a Chet. So getting OG back would be great for them, and obviously having to give up Giddy. I don't know. Giddy on that roster just seems so like,
On what roster? The
on the
Raptors?
Raptors.
The
Not like
Raptors.
not
Yeah.
disgusting, but like I just can't. I'm trying to envision a lineup like that. So you
Especially with
said
Scotty Barnes, it doesn't really work. It doesn't really work for me either.
right, like Scotty's
Yeah.
already their
I think
facilitating
that
guy.
trade
So
you could do something along those lines. I don't think they give up Giddy though. I I think Toronto has to just look at the assets that Oklahoma has. Maybe they get Usman Yang, who barely even gets in the rotation.
yeah,
Maybe the Thunder finally get rid of Poku. Guys like that. Projects for the Raptors to build on with their guys. I think they definitely trade Fred VanVleet though. And a trade for Fred VanVleet is interesting because what is his value at right now?
he's been in and out of the lineup. He's been hurt, and when he has got consistent run, like you said, it's been pretty inconsistent. So, I mean, it's still Fred VanVleet though. You want Fred VanVleet on your roster, no doubt. But, man,
I don't know, man. And what team could possibly even make that move? What teams that like really need a point guard? The Clippers could definitely do something there. The Clippers have a bunch of guys on their roster that have contracts that are about the same amount of money. I mean, but do you want to give up that depth for Fred VanVleet? And as the Raptors, what this is the way I'm viewing it. The Raptors, as the Raptors, what are you gonna get back for Fred VanVleet that's equal in value? Like, I mean, you can't because he's gonna get lowballed. They might just give you draft capital for him. At that point, wouldn't you just want Fred VanVleet on the roster?
yeah,
Of
like
course, unless you're just rebuilding.
which I honestly doubt they do because they have talent. Like they've got their young guy, they've got other young guys that are gonna get developed, and they have like solid enough vets. But like in the long run, Fred Van Vliet as your starting guard probably is not going to get you where you want to.